SpaceX has launched the NRO 149 mission from California, marking the NRO's sixth satellite deployment here in 2024. The National Reconnaissance Office's next-gen constellation, which is built with SpaceX and Northrop Grumman, has surpassed 100 satellites in just 18 months. That's a lot. This shift from large, costly satellites to smaller, distributed spacecraft really kind of boosts resilience for the whole program and really bolsters intelligence capabilities across the board. The constellation is going to continue expanding through 2028, which solidifies the U.S. edge in space-based surveillance. I mean, smaller satellites, bigger coverage. They're rewriting the rules here.
This is interesting. So how do you manage that integration and life cycle of 100 plus satellites while ensuring that your data security and your mission uptime in a distributed architecture? That's a real big challenge for me.
I think for me, it's more looking at how are you going to scale the launches at this pace without risking cost overruns, deployment errors. 100 satellites in a year and a half. We weren't sending up a few large things, one or two. We're sending up, not we, but they are sending up, many, many smaller ones. So the logistical and financial strain of being able to maintain an aggressive deployment schedule has to be considered, because you cannot have costly operational setbacks.
So is your concern with launch scalability or with product satellite scalability?
I mean, yes.
Because I think the launch scalability is fixed. I mean, these guys are cranking them out all the time, aren't they, SpaceX? So, and I think your launch costs as well are kind of semi-meaningless if your satellites can actually talk to each other securely or stay operational long enough to make sure that they can justify their actual deployment. So the shift to a smaller distributed satellite will only increase the system complexity, making that whole life cycle management and secure integration piece so vital to make sure you've got mission success over a long period of time.
And you've got to make sure that all these smaller pieces have the quality figured out, because these things are they're in space, they're in areas where repair is a little difficult. So when these are scaling to have a bunch of them put out there, you've got to make sure that they're going to work with quality and be able to do all the communication that you want them to perform. And probably some redundancy, because I guess, if one fails, you've got other ones that can hopefully take up some space for it. But it's a whole complicated system to figure out that probably needs a little bit of Andrew's favorite topic to be able to handle all of it.
I think you've got to with this now. I mean, this is right at the cutting edge of technology. So getting a digital continuity, a digital thread in place is a total no-brainer. And to even try doing this without that requirements into design and change, into simulation validation, into supply chain integration, and then MRO piece attached on the end of it. If you didn't get that working in the first place, you're not even going to get off the ground. But I think you're right. What needs to come in here is that AI piece to really make it more automated, more seamless, more intelligent, and quicker. So you're going to overlay your AI across every single piece of this to make sure it's really optimized. So a lot of work to do.
They might even use the AI in their actual operations, because getting the communications back and forth and then making the decisions from Earth, maybe you just let these satellites figure everything out themselves and then slowly take over the universe.
Drones are doing it, so satellites are next. See you next week.